Hi everyone, today I'll show you how to make very simple combined quiet book page. First one, I'm going to show you how to make a cover for the book without the binding. Here I have fabric, cotton fabric, and fusible canvas, 6 by 6 inches. And here I have fusible interfacing, and this will be the page for the book with the binding. Here I have two fabrics for the grass and for the sky, and square 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches. Again, this is fusible canvas and fusible interfacing. Also, you will need a ruler and stationery knife or the rotary cutter. First, decide how you want to divide the page. This one will be sky and grass. So I'll just make like so. Okay, so it will be 6 centimeters. And here I will make 5 centimeters, 2 inches. Now apply the fusible interfacing onto the fabric here. It will be the blue one for the sky. And here I'm going to make like so. So I will apply fusible canvas here and fusible interfacing onto the blue fabric. For the page with the binding, trim off the excess of the fabric on 3 sides of the page. On the 4th side, leave 1 centimeter or approximately half of an inch seam allowance. The page with no binding. Leave the excess of the fabric, but trim off on the one side. Leave the seam allowance approximately 1 centimeter. For the page with the binding, you will need the fabric a little bit wider than the width of the second part of the fusible interfacing, just a little bit for the seam allowance. The green fabric without the fusible interfacing, wrong side down. And now this part right side down. And you may use pins or wonder clips. Same here. Because I'm not going to sew through the fusible interfacing or canvas, but only 2 layers of the cotton fabric, I installed the needle number 11 or 75. Also, I recommend you to increase the tension of the upper thread. I'm going to start sewing 3 millimeters from the edge of the interfacing. I mean from this upper edge. So the stitch will start here. I'm doing this because later when the page is ready, I'm going to square up the page, and of course I'm going to trim off extra millimeters. So I don't want to cut the stitch So only this is the reason I'm starting sewing 3-4 millimeters from the edge, so here. And because this is fusible interfacing, I'm going to sew 0.5 millimeter to the right from the edge of the interfacing. If you are using fusible canvas, then you need 1 millimeter. So the needle is number 11. I increased the tension of the upper thread. The length of the stitch is on 2. The needle is in the center of the foot. Finish sewing 3-4 millimeters before the edge of the interfacing. I made 2 samples for you, and I will show you 2 options. First one, pressed seam allowance open. Now I need to apply second part of the fusible interfacing. So just place the interfacing onto the fabric, adhesive side down. You must see the stitch here, and apply the fusible interfacing. If you have pinking shears, then you may cut the edge of the seam allowances using the pinking shears. Now I'm going to trim off the excess of the fabric along the edge of the fusible interface. Cover your ironing board with the teflon sheet or protecting sheet. Place the page right side down, then fusible web or double-sided fusible interfacing, and pressed polyester batting with the lightweight fusible interfacing. Now I'm going to use iron with the steam to bond all the layers. Trim off the excess of the polyester batting. This page is ready. When you sew on all the details or applique on this page, you need to square up the page and assemble this page with the same one and bind the edges. Another option, apply the fusible interfacing on the bottom fabric. And press the seam allowance on one side, like so. The lower seam allowance should be wider than the upper one. Trim off the excess of the fabric. Protect your ironing board using the teflon sheet. Place the page on the sheet, then fusible web and cotton duck canvas. Bond together all the layers, first with the steam and then with dry iron. Trim off the excess of the duck canvas. Now here I'm going to top stitch 1 millimeter to the left from the previous stitch. Start 3-4 millimeters from the edge and finish 3-4 millimeters before the edge of the page. So 1 millimeter to the right from the edge of the canvas. take second part of the canvas, place it on the fabric, align the edges, and use your iron to apply the canvas onto the fabric. I'm going to use heat press. I'm going to use hot resistant tape to secure the canvas. Here I have lightweight fusible interfacing. I'm going to apply it to secure the seam. So this will be the page without the binding. Now you may leave as is, I mean the seam, or use decorative stitch on your sewing machine. And then fold the allowance onto the wrong side. Finish the edges as usual. This is the result, the page without the binding. I pressed seam open. Here I have page for the book with the binding, stiffen with the fusible interfacing, plus pressed polyester batting. I pressed seam open. Those two pages are stiffened with cotton duck canvas. Here you may see the top stitch. The silhouettes of the seam allowances are not seen on the right side. See? This is it. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe.